As summer rolls around again, so do those unwanted hay fever symptoms like runny nose, itchy eyes, congestion and sneezing. Now you may have one of these or all of these, and if you do, then you picked the right video because I'm going to make you a hay fever pro. Now before we begin with treatments, let's first check that it is actually hay fever, as I know that many patients are always unsure. Is it a cold? Is it hay fever? So how do you know? Well, remember this question. How long have you had your symptoms for? Look at these symptoms. If you've had them for about a week or two and they're gone, it's probably most likely a cold. But if it persists, it's probably most likely hay fever. So hay fever is caused by the body reacting to pollen as if it was something harmful that was bad for our body. And this reaction causes certain chemicals to be released, and one of which is histamine. Now the histamine causes inflammation, and it also causes the unpleasant side effects, well the symptoms, that we know so well as hay fever. Now that was a super simplified version, but I hope you've got a basic understanding of it all because it's really going to help us when we talk about treatment. So now, let's begin. Okay, so we have three types of treatments, and I feel like it's best if we break them down into what they're treating. So we first have general hay fever symptoms, and you may have a mild version of all or just one of these. Now if these are the only symptoms that you're experiencing, then I see so many patients who find just an antihistamine on its own enough to keep their symptoms under control. And the way it works is in the name. Antihistamine. So you know what histamine does, and it basically blocks the action of histamine. Now you're probably thinking, well, which antihistamine should I take? Generally speaking, loratadine and cetirizine are both quite good for general hay fever symptoms. They're what we call second generation antihistamines, so they're less likely to make you drowsy, and they have a long duration of action, so it's only once a day you need to take. Treatment number 2, nasal symptoms. Now you may or may not have these general hay fever symptoms, but your nasal symptoms are giving you real trouble. You've got a runny nose, you're sneezing all the time, and the chances are you've probably blown your nose so much it's gone all red and sore around the nose, which isn't very nice. Now my go-to for these kinds of symptoms is a steroid nasal spray, for example beclomethasone nasal spray. It reduces the inflammatory response, and it also helps control the allergic symptoms that are associated with hay fever. Now please remember though, you will have to use this a couple of weeks before hay fever season starts for best results. It can also be used with the antihistamine that I've just spoke about for general hay fever treatment. Okay, let's pause for 1 second. Now you may be thinking to yourself, but Abraham, I've used a nasal spray and it didn't really help me. Well, first of all, please double check that it was a steroid nasal spray, because there's many different nasal sprays out there in the market that claim to help with hay fever and allergies, and a lot of them don't actually contain it. So firstly, check this, and second of all, are you using your nasal spray right? Because if you're not, you're probably not going to get the right amount of medicine in the right spot, and it's not going to be working as well. So, I did make a video not long ago about how to use a nasal spray. I will leave a link up here and in the description below. Please check it out at the end of this video, and I guarantee you it will make a massive difference. Treatment number 3. Eye symptoms. Now you may or may not have any of these general hay fever symptoms, but your eyes, they're red, they're watery, they're itchy, it's just not nice. So remember the histamine that we spoke about at the start of the video? Well, these are contained in cells called mast cells, and what we're going to do is we're going to hit these with a mast cell stabilizer called sodium chromoglycate, which is available as an eye drop. So by stabilizing the mast cells, it's not going to release the histamine, so we shouldn't get the allergic hay fever symptoms that we're used to in the eye. Also, sodium chromoglycate can be used with the antihistamines I spoke about at the start. Now once again, you may be thinking to yourself, but Abraham, I've already used an eye drop and it didn't really help me. Well, firstly, I'd probably say, please read the ingredients and double check, does that eye drop contain sodium chromoglycate? Because chances are it may not, because there's a lot of different treatments out there that don't actually have this ingredient in them. So please double check. And also secondly, are you using your eye drop properly? Because trust me, a lot of people don't use them properly, and thankfully not long ago I made a video on how to use an eye drop properly, which I will leave a link up here and in the description below. Now trust me, if you use an eye drop properly, I guarantee you will see a significant improvement and a significant improvement in results. And please remember that with all medication, always read the information leaflet to make sure that you're safe and suitable to take it, and always speak to your pharmacist first so they can advise you what to take, and again so they can check that you're safe and suitable to take it. That's the most important thing. Also, there are things that you can do, lifestyle things that you can do that can help with hay fever as well. So let's quickly run through that. Tip number 1. Pollen count. Now pollen is usually higher in the morning and at night time. So try and keep your doors shut, try and keep your windows shut, try and keep them closed for as much as you can. Tip number 2, petroleum jelly. Try and get a tiny amount and rub it around your nostrils. I'd only recommend this in adults and not really in children. And what it's going to do is going to trap that pollen and help prevent it from getting into your system. It might also be useful for you when you've got a sore nose because you've been blowing it so much. And tip number 3. Once you've been outside all day and you've come back home, go for a shower and get your clothes washed so it washes off all that excess pollen that may have stuck to you. I really hope my tips help you. I've also left loads more information in the description below, which I'd advise everyone to read. Also, if you've got any of your own tips, leave a comment below too, because I'd love to read it, and I'm sure everyone else would too. Always remember that you're awesome, enjoy the summer, and I will see you next week. Now if this is you, I see... Hello there. Teleportation scene. Really, I'm like filming and sweating. It's so hot in here right now. Hey guys, thanks for watching this week's video. Make sure to click that like, follow or subscribe button now to stay up to date with new weekly videos.